The night wrapped the lake in a gentle shroud of darkness, the moonlight glinting softly on the water's surface, casting long silvery trails that danced with every subtle ripple. The world seemed to slow down, as if time itself was holding its breath, allowing the quiet beauty of the scene to settle in. Crickets chirped in the tall grass, their song weaving through the air while the water lapped at the shore in a steady, soothing rhythm. A cool breeze rustled the willow's leaves, making them whisper secrets to the night. The gentle sounds blended together, creating a symphony of peace that filled the darkness, making the lake feel alive yet tranquil. Emma sat on a weathered bench, knees drawn tightly to her chest, her gaze fixed on the shimmering ripples that reflected the moon's glow. She felt small beneath the vast sky, but also comforted, as if the night itself was wrapping her in a protective embrace. The cool air tingled on her skin, grounding her in the present moment. She breathed in the crisp, clean air, letting the stillness seep into her bones. Each breath seemed to wash away the tension of the day, replacing it with a quiet calm. The gentle hush of the night offered her a rare sense of peace, a moment to simply exist without worry or expectation. This lakeside had always been their sanctuary, a place to escape the world's relentless noise and demands. Here, surrounded by nature and the soft glow of the moon, Emma and Aiden could find solace. The bench beneath the willow tree had witnessed countless moments, laughter, tears, and silent understandings. Tonight, Aiden sat beside her, close but not touching, the space between them heavy with the weight of an earlier argument. Words had been exchanged, sharp and hurried, but now, in the hush of the night, those words seemed distant, almost unreal. The silence between them was not empty, but full of unspoken apologies and hopes for forgiveness. Here, under the endless canopy of stars, anger slowly faded, replaced by the gentle hum of the night. The vastness above reminded them how small their troubles were in the grand scheme of things. The stars twinkled quietly, as if encouraging them to let go and start anew. The world seemed to pause, holding its breath and offering them a quiet space to begin again. In this moment, surrounded by the stillness of the lake and the silent watch of the trees, Emma and Aiden found the courage to let go of their anger, if only for a while. The lake, the moon, and the ancient trees stood silent witness as Emma and Aiden found a fragile, silent truce. In the stillness of the night, they realized that sometimes words were not needed, only the quiet understanding that they were not alone, and that the night would always offer them a place to heal. The silence between Emma and Aiden was heavy but not empty. It pressed in around them, thick as the night air, yet it was not suffocating. Instead, it seemed to hold all the words they couldn't say, all the apologies and explanations that felt too raw to voice. The moonlight shimmered on the lake, casting a gentle glow over their still forms, as if the world itself was holding its breath with them. It was filled with the echoes of their argument and the exhaustion of busy lives. The tension from earlier still lingered, woven into the fabric of the night, but so did the fatigue from days spent rushing, working, and barely catching their breath. Each of them carried the weight of unspoken worries, the kind that build up quietly over time, until they spill out in sharp words and wounded silences. They sat side by side, choosing not to speak, letting the quiet do what words could not. Sometimes the act of simply being together, without the pressure to fill the air with conversation, was a comfort in itself. The blanket around their shoulders was a small gesture, but it spoke of care and a desire to bridge the gap between them, even if only in small ways. In the city, silence was a void. Here, it was a presence. The city's noise had always filled their lives, making silence feel awkward, even alarming. But out here, by the water, the quiet was alive. It was filled with the gentle sounds of nature, the soft lapping of water, the distant call of an owl, the steady chorus of crickets. This silence was not empty. It was a living, breathing thing that wrapped around them, inviting them to slow down and listen. Emma noticed Aiden's clenched hands, the tension in his jaw. She could see the way he stared out at the water, lost in thought, his body language betraying the storm of emotions inside him. She wanted to reach out to offer comfort, but the words caught in her throat. She knew he was replaying their fight just as she was. The harsh words, the raised voices, the things said in frustration, they echoed in her mind too. She wondered if he regretted them as much as she did, if he was searching for a way to move forward. The silence was fragile, but it softened the distance between them. It was as if the quiet allowed their anger to settle, making space for understanding to grow. The gentle sounds of the night became a balm, soothing the raw edges of their emotions. Aiden listened to the crickets, wishing for a simpler, steadier life. He remembered nights from his childhood, when problems seemed smaller and the world felt safe. He longed for that sense of peace, for the ability to let go of resentment and just be present with Emma. Slowly, the silence became a space they shared, not a wall between them. It was a gentle reminder that even in the aftermath of conflict, they could find their way back to each other. The anger lingered, but togetherness mattered more. They didn't need to solve everything tonight. It was enough to simply sit side by side, letting the night work its quiet magic. Emma's hand inched closer to Aiden's, not quite touching, but close enough to feel the warmth radiating between them. It was a small gesture, but it spoke volumes, a silent promise that they were willing to try, to heal, to move forward together. They sat under the same sky, breathing the same air, letting the quiet begin to heal. The stars above seemed to watch over them, silent witnesses to their struggle and their hope. In that shared silence, they found a fragile peace, a reminder that love could endure even the hardest moments. The most important thing was that they were here, together. No matter what had been said, no matter how much hurt lingered, they had chosen to stay. And in the gentle hush of the night, that choice was enough. In the hush of the lakeside night, Aiden broke the stillness, his hands steady as he poured chamomile tea into 2 waiting mugs. The gentle sound of liquid filling the cups was almost musical, a soft interruption to the quiet that had settled between them. The moonlight shimmered on the surface of the water, casting a silvery glow over their small camp, making the moment feel suspended in time. He handed 1 mug to Emma, their fingers brushing in the exchange, a fleeting electric spark of connection that lingered in the cool air. She wrapped her hands around the steaming mug, drawing it close, letting the warmth seep into her chilled fingers. The simple act of holding the mug became a comfort, a silent reassurance that she wasn't alone in this moment. The tea, sweetened with a swirl of honey, was more than just a drink. It was a taste of comfort and care. Aiden had remembered her favourite blend, a quiet but meaningful sign that he still paid attention, that he still saw her and remembered the little things that mattered. Emma noticed, her lips curling into a soft, grateful smile, the tension between them easing just a little. Without a word, Aiden draped a thick wool blanket over their laps, tucking it gently around Emma first. The fabric was soft and heavy, a barrier against the night's chill. Under the blanket, their legs touched, sharing warmth in a way that words never could. The gesture was simple, but it spoke volumes. A quiet offering of comfort and closeness. They sipped their tea in silence, cocooned together beneath the blanket, the world around them fading into the background. The argument that had hung between them earlier wasn't solved, but the atmosphere had shifted. The silence was no longer heavy with tension, but gentle, filled with the possibility of forgiveness and understanding. In the end, it was the small gestures, pouring tea, sharing a blanket, a gentle touch, that spoke louder than any apology. Care was found in these quiet acts, in the way they looked after each other without needing to say a word. In the warmth of small things, they found a way to say, "I'm still here, I still care." As the tea's warmth settled, Emma thought of their city life. Deadlines, alarms, and constant motion. They'd become two runners on separate tracks, waving in passing. She missed their laughter, shared stories, and cooking together. Now, dinners were rushed, eaten in front of screens. They'd built a life, but forgotten to build time for each other. The lake's silence reminded them of all the quiet moments they'd sacrificed. Aiden stared into his mug, realizing he'd neglected the present for the future. The night magnified the noise of their everyday lives, making it seem distant and absurd. This pause by the lake was a conscious choice to find each other again. Moonlight traced a path into their past. Emma remembered their first visit, skipping stones, laughter, dreams. She recalled hard times too, when Aiden was her quiet strength. Love, she realized, was weathering storms together. Aiden remembered proposing by this lake, nervous and hopeful. He saw the same woman he'd fallen for, changed only by laughter and life. He thought of his own struggles and how Emma had lifted him up. Their memories, joyful and painful, were the threads of their bond. These shared moments were the foundation of their relationship. They'd been through so much together. They could get through this too. The silence had done its work. Aiden finally spoke, voice soft. "I miss this." Emma understood. He missed the quiet, the connection, the simplicity. She turned to him, seeing vulnerability in his eyes. "Me too," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. The space between them softened. "I'm sorry," Aiden said, meeting her gaze, "for earlier, for being distant." His apology was honest, without excuses. Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I've been distant too," she admitted. She reached for his hand, fingers lacing through his. The touch was a promise to reconnect. Their gentle conversation marked the beginning of healing. Holding hands, peace settled over them. They realized love wasn't just in grand gestures, but in quiet aftermaths. It was in shared silence, vulnerability, and forgiveness. Love was a practice of presence, showing up even when tired. Small acts, tea, a blanket, a touch built their life together. These moments were the embers that kept love burning. Emma leaned into Aiden, feeling safe and at home. In his arms, anxieties faded, replaced by belonging. They didn't need to solve everything tonight. All they needed was this stillness, this closeness. In these peaceful moments, love was renewed. The moon climbed higher, the world growing quieter. Emma and Aiden, wrapped in a blanket, became a single silhouette by the water. The argument was a distant memory, replaced by gratitude and peace. Life would be busy again, but something had shifted. They'd found their center, reminded of what mattered. Aiden tightened his arm around Emma, feeling a gentle resolve. He chose presence, connection, and the health of their love. They didn't need words. Touch and presence said everything. Love, in its purest form, was a place of rest. It was the safe harbor they returned to. Here, in each other's arms, they were home. Emma and Aiden's story isn't one of grand romance, but of quiet love. Love often whispers, living in shared silences and small gestures. It asks only for presence, to show up, to listen, to be still. For anyone feeling distant, hope lies in simple acts: a cup of tea, a shared blanket, a pause under the stars. Love is a daily choice made in 1,000 small ways. Let the image of this moonlit lake remind you it's okay to rest, to reach for the one you love. The deepest connections are forged in quiet warmth, not drama. May you find your own peaceful moment and always feel safe, seen, and deeply loved.